All right, well, welcome. Thank you for braving it through the rain. I know it was really pouring, so thank you for being here. This body of work, this exhibition is called Don't Sip Me Up. I'm from Ciudad Juarez, a city in northern Mexico, and my house growing up was 3 miles away from the United States. It's the city right across El Paso, Texas. And it's a city that in 2007, it was labeled as the most dangerous city in the world. And it went through this violence peak, but it's no longer, even though it's still violent, that image stayed. And the image of violence has remained so much. When people think of Juarez, they think of it negatively. So what this work tries to do, I try to change that narrative. I try to sort of portray it from a lens of resilience and say that there's more to a city than its violence. It's still a city of 1.6 million people. And every time I go home, I walk around the neighborhoods and take pictures of places that sort of provide a holistic image of the city. You know, I try to represent places of commerce, houses, sometimes buildings that are often ignored or overlooked. And these are my Chamara paintings. I've done at this point 35 of them. There's another show right now in a museum in Juarez that has a set of 12 of these. And I've been having a lot of fun making these. And a lot of people ask me how the idea came about. I experiment a lot of my work. When I try to add three-dimensionality, or I'm usually bored with just 2D painting, or I try to add a sculptural component. And with these ones, when I was doing my Master of Fine Arts, I did this painting that didn't look much like these, but it was just kind of more abstract, but it had the jacket. And then I was like, this is garbage, so I threw it away. But my roommate, she would keep all the work that I would toss. So then I visited her a year later, and she had it in her kitchen. I was like, oh, that's not that bad. So I started making this series, and I made the first one. The first one is part of the DC Arts Center, the DC Arts and Commission for the Humanities. Now they purchased it along with this other big one, and they've been making their way through collections, so that I've been showing them so much too that I'm happy to show Juarez outside of Juarez, and this place that is mostly unknown for some people. It's really important to me. Like this three. Last year, they spent the whole year in a museum in Oregon. A curator from Juarez saw them, and she paid to have them shipped. She shipped them there and then brought them back. So that was really good that they've also been traveling. But that's pretty much the gist of the exhibition. If you guys have any questions or comments. So how I make these, I paint the whole image as a whole, even though if you were to strip it, there would be the image would have it. The first one I did, it was actually just a pattern. It looked more decorative. But with these ones, what I'm trying to do is to, also portray them as bodies, as portraits of the city, and the verticality, and giving them a jacket anthropomorphizes them. And also, the point of the jacket is very symbolic. I try to give Juarez a layer of warmth and care. And these are very labor intensive. They take many, many hours to make. So I also see the act of painting these as, an act of care. Oil painting is a medium that was seen very prestigious. If you, in the Renaissance, people would only paint what they consider the most beautiful. So the fact that I'm portraying Juarez with oil painting is like meaningful to me in this medium that has often been exclusive. Yeah, people bring that up, and I think by portraying the architecture, I'm portraying all the people. You know, these are places that we inhabit, these are places that we pass through. I also really dislike painting people. Like, that's also a reality. Growing up, I wanted to be an architect. So I chose a more lucrative career and became a painter. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so I've always been interested in architecture and consider myself an urban landscape painter. Yeah, like that pink one over there, that's a house that I would pass by on my way to school as my dad drove me. They all bring this familiarity, but that one sort of like represents that daily like passage to school. And a few years ago when I went back, it was painted white. So something that I realized is that I'm also immortalizing these places, right? Like, but through paint, I'm documenting them, as you said. So this is called Gardier, and we do have someone from Juarez in the audience, so she like knows what this is. But this is an abandoned building. It used to be a restaurant, and they built it, but Juarez is in the desert. It's really hot, and those windows just like it can get really hot. And they try reopening it, and I think they opened a club there or something. It didn't work out, but it's there and it's abandoned. That's why you could see it even has a broken window, and it's become such a staple, and it's in one of the most transited avenues too. But people sort of forget about it. Like I think if you're new to Juarez, you notice it right away, but people like driving every day don't even look at it anymore. But it's such an interesting building, and it stands out from all other buildings there. It's all canvas. Yeah, all canvas. I sew the zippers. I get this big industrial zippers, and I make the jackets and hand sew it, and then attach it, and then prime it, and then paint it, and then render the image again. Yeah, I don't even have a sewing machine. I do it by hand. And I think that's why it looks like it belongs to the painting. If I used another material, I think it would look too separate. Thank you so much.